Good morning, welcome. So EMRS and Electricity Settlement Body would like to welcome you all today to the Volume Reallocation webinar. My name is Hannah Pargeter and I am the Customer Engagement Lead at EMRS. And my colleague Joy is going to be assisting today in explaining the volume reallocation process that EMRS undertake. You probably will have a screen, some of you may have a poll question that's currently on your screen, so we would really appreciate if you could respond to our poll question, which is, would you like to participate in volume reallocation testing? And we will look at those results later on in the webinar. Once you've responded, then you will have the slides will then appear. So if you could please note the disclaimer slide that's appeared, and I will leave that there for a few moments. What I will do is I'll talk us through how the webinar will be covered today, and just to highlight a few areas just for some participation from yourselves. So I've mentioned the poll question already. So please do respond. I will give a bit of a nudge later on as we go through. We will cover around the registered participants, which is a delivery body process. I will cover that shortly. We will then go through what is volume reallocation, roles and responsibilities, and the actual scenarios and timetable for volume reallocation. Then we'll stop for a question section. So we will then respond to questions that you submitted during that first section. So if you do have a question, please do submit that using the dashboard panel that you have available, and we will sort of cover those questions in that section and respond where we can throughout. Once we've done that question section, we will go through what the capacity volume register is, how providers and capacity providers submit capacity market volume reallocation notifications into EMRS. We will look at the settlement activities, the BSC settlement data section, and we go through the settlement timetable for volume reallocation. We'll have another question section, so please keep them coming throughout the webinar, and then we'll share the response for the poll question that we asked at the outset. So just going to reiterate the poll question. We would like to understand if you would like to participate in volume reallocation testing. Once we've got those findings, we'll share that at the end, and then we'll follow up with those that have responded, and just let you know where we're at with that with the Electricity Settlement Company. Okay, so I hope everyone is able to hear me and everything is going okay in that sense. Before I go on to this next section, just to make sure everyone is aware that we will circulate the recording of this webinar to all of those that have registered, and there will be a link to the slides in addition, and also an opportunity for you to provide your feedback on this webinar, and also we'll ask a few other questions in terms of sort of ongoing engagement, etc. So there will be an opportunity to provide feedback. Okay, so on behalf of EMR Delivery Body, I just want to cover off the volume reallocation process part that they undertake for this. So capacity agreement holders are eligible to take part in volume reallocation during the delivery year. Those with a agreement, those capacity providers are CMUs with a agreement, and they are registered to participate in volume reallocation with the delivery body. The capacity market rules were amended earlier on this year, which opened up volume reallocation to participants, to capacity providers who did not hold an agreement for that delivery year. Do need to note here that this excludes those that were within the transitional arrangement auction. So the prerequisite for those to be able to become capacity market volume reallocation registered participants, bit of a long title, need to be successfully pre-qualified. There is some criteria around that, and I'll come on to that in a second, or qualified as a secondary trading entrant. Registration is done through the delivery body portal. When the slides are issued, there's a link to the volume reallocation guidance that National Grid, the EMR delivery body, have published on their website that goes through how you would register via their portal if you were a CMVR registered participant, and that steps you through how you do that process on the portal. To date, the delivery body has sent reminders as not all participants have registered. So if you are one of those participants, please do register with the delivery body. The email address is below if you need any assistance. In addition, those people that have registered as a CMVR registered participant, they are published, those people are published on a register on the delivery body's website, and the links to those are within those icons on there, so you'd be able to click through. But if you do have any additional questions, please do feel free to contact the delivery body. Their contact details are there, but by all means, if there are any particular questions, please do send them through via the webinar today. If we can assist on their behalf, we will, but if not, we can work with the delivery body and get responses to those questions. Okay, and I hope those questions are coming through, so please do keep submitting those. What we're going to now cover is my colleague Joy is now going to go through sort of a bit of a recap, go through the volume reallocation process, and go through sort of the different scenarios, the scenarios around where this actually does apply. So over to Joy.
Thank you, Hannah. Hello, everyone. My name's Joy Namani, and I'm a business analyst here at EMRS. So I'm going to go through an overview of what the volume reallocation process is, and then give you some more information about the publications you'll get during the volume allocation window and any information that will flow between capacity providers, CMVR registered participants, and EMRS. So first of all, volume reallocation is covered in chapters 8 and 10 of the capacity market rules, so you can read more about it in there. And it's a process where after a stress event has occurred and we find that some capacity providers have over-delivered and some have under-delivered, they can trade volume between each other in order to reduce the penalties that an under-delivering CMU would be liable for. The volume reallocation window opens on the 11th working day after a month in which a stress event has occurred, and it's open until working day 19. So Hannah mentioned earlier on that capacity providers and CMVR registered participants would need to register with EMRS. So that enables us to contact you and to pay you. As well as that, we need you to have a validated set of aggregation rules and an approved metering system. So that is what everyone who wants to participate in volume reallocation needs to ensure they have completed. So not just capacity providers with an auction acquired capacity obligation, but those who want to take part in the volume reallocation process without an obligation. Just as a reminder of everyone's responsibilities in this process, so the delivery body will identify acceptable transferees. So as Hannah mentioned, those are those without an auction acquired capacity obligation who would like to participate in volume reallocation. The delivery body will maintain a register of those people on their website. So if you go to the delivery body website under CM registers, there is a link to the volume reallocation register. Capacity providers themselves need to ensure that they are registered with EMRS, and more information is in Working Practice 22 of how to complete your capacity market registration form. And as well as that, you need to complete all your data validation and aggregation rule validation with EMRS. While the volume reallocation window is open, capacity providers need to identify CMUs with which they want to trade with, and those trading capacity providers will need to complete and submit CMVRNs to EMRS. At the end of the volume reallocation window, when we invoice for penalty charges, capacity providers are under obligation to pay those within 5 working days. EMRS's responsibilities during volume reallocation is to publish the capacity volume register, receive, match and validate CMVRNs received from capacity providers, republish the CVR register every day between working day 11 and working day 19 with updated positions from the trades that we've received, and at the very end calculate an invoice for penalty charges. We won't send out any credit notes for over delivery payments until the end of the delivery year, as this is paid out from the under delivery penalty pot. So as a timeline, you can see on your screens we've got a system stress event occurring at the end of a previous month, and on working day 10 of the next month, that's when we'll first publish the capacity volume register, and we'll publish that by 5 p.m. From working day 11 onwards up to working day 19, that's when the volume reallocation window is open. So during this time, capacity providers are able to submit CMVRNs to action trades between each other. On working day 20, EMRS will publish a final capacity volume register. That register indicates everyone's final positions as at 5 p.m. on working day 19. On working day 21, that's when penalty invoices will be issued, and the standard 5 working day payment term means that they should be paid by working day 26. Whilst there's volume reallocation and stress events going on, capacity providers will receive their normal capacity payment credit note on working day 28. So, as I mentioned on the previous slide, over delivery payments aren't made until the end of the delivery year, as soon as reasonably practicable after we've calculated any collections from under delivery. So we have a volume reallocation scenario on your screen now. You can see we have 2 CMUs, CMU A and CMU B, and stress events occur at different points in the delivery year. So the black line indicates the obligation of CMU A and CMU B, and the yellow line is their performance over the course of the delivery year. So if we take the stress event occurring at point 1, at this period, CMU A over-delivered. You can see that their yellow line is above the black line, and CMU B also over-delivered. At point 2, we actually have a situation where CMU A has transferred part of it, well, all of its obligation away, whereas CMU B hasn't, but CMU B has managed to over-deliver during that stress event too. At point 3, CMU A has under-delivered and so would be liable for penalties, whereas CMU B has continued to over-deliver. So with CMU A under-delivering at stress event 3 and CMU B over-delivering, we now find ourselves in a situation where CMU A can try to minimize its penalties. So CMU A and CMU B could privately come together to arrange how much volume and for which settlement periods they would like to trade. After they've agreed that, both CMUs will submit notifications to EMRS explaining how much volume and for which settlement periods they are trading, and following that, EMRS would match and validate the CMVRNs. So that was a quick overview of what the process of volume reallocation entails. We're now going to have a short break for questions.
Hi, Joy. Right.
Hey, Hannah.
Okay, we've had quite a few questions come in, so let me quickly just sort of share some of these that we've had come in. So, where are we? So no, thank you everyone for your questions, and do keep them coming in. So we've had on working day 28, EMRS issue the credit note. Is this for your CM contract for being available for the full previous month? And yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
So thank you for that question, Amy. Then we've got so working day 26 working days into the month. When using there are less than 24 working days in a month, can you clarify if they mean working days or calendar days? It's
Yeah, it is working days.
Working
yes.
days. So payments for October delivery happens in December. So that's fantastic. Another question that we've just come in, they're coming in quite quick and fast, so thank you. So what time will the capacity volume register be published each day? I think we do cover this on later on, so we'll pick that one up later, so thank you for that. I'll take a couple more, and then but we will respond to these questions as well as we go through. Is there a specific trading forms for the volume reallocation trades that CMU adhere to?
So EMRS is not a party to the private agreements that CMUs and capacity providers engage in to agree on a trade. So any documents or any legal drafting you may wish to use to action your trade would need to be agreed privately and separately between those CMUs.
Thank you, Joy. So I will take one more. I'd like to know. The audience would like to know. Would credit notes and invoices have a breakdown at CMU level ID or a component level in case of aggregated CMUs?
So it would always be at CMU level. It's the CMU which holds the obligation, so it's for the CMU that we would make any payments or send out any invoices for.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, do keep those questions coming through, and we'll pick some of these up. We'll respond to these ones as we get them, but at the same time, please keep them coming in, and we'll pick some more questions up at the session a bit later on. But I will nudge Joy if we get any good ones, so that would be appropriate at that time. So yeah, Joy may have to have a little extra question stocked. So no, thank you.
Yeah, thanks again for your questions. So the next few slides, I'm going to go over the publications and all the data and information that gets used within working days 10 to working day 19 of the volume reallocation process. So as mentioned, we publish a capacity volume register on working day 10. So what's the information that this register includes? So for each settlement date and each settlement period for which a stress event has occurred, the register will include E, which explains the capacity provider's performance during the settlement period. It will include the ALFCO. So the ALFCO is a capacity provider's auction-acquired capacity obligation, which has been adjusted for any transferred obligations, any bids and offers from BSC activity, and any relevant balance and services that the CMU was involved in during the stress event. Next up is the IOD column, which is for initial over delivery. So that's any amount of your performance which is over your ALFCO, so it can be calculated by E minus ALFCO. Next up is initial under delivery. So if you were to perform less than your ALFCO, this would indicate by how much your performance fell short of what your obligation was. alongside that is the ACMV column, Aggregated Traded Capacity Market Volume. So this column gets updated with every rerun of the capacity volume register, and it's the accumulation of all the trades that you've engaged in during the volume reallocation window. And last up is adjusted metered output, AE. So that is E adjusted for all of the trades that have occurred whilst the volume reallocation window has been open. So where can you find the capacity volume register? So if you go to the EMR settlement website and click on settlement data, and then click that I am a capacity provider, and the settlement data options for capacity providers will be shown on the screen, and you would just need to click on the drop down for capacity volume register, and the register for that day will be presented there. So in order to action any trades, we need to receive capacity market volume reallocation notifications, or CMVRNs, from trading CMUs. So the trading CMUs need to agree on how much volume and for which settlement periods they are trading. So for us to validate a trade, we would expect to see matching data items, so matching settlement periods and matching volumes within the files from the trading pair. The volume in the transfers file, so the CMU who has over-delivered, should always be negative because we're taking volume away from that CMU. And the volume in the transferees file, the CMU who under-delivered, who needs the volume, we expect that volume to be presented positive. A capacity providers can include multiple settlement periods in one CMVRN. So if trading CMUs identify that they could continue trading for many settlement periods, they can put those all in one file. And all volume should be expressed in megawatt hours. There are some restrictions on how much you can trade. So a CMU who has initially over-delivered can't trade so that they have even more over-delivery, or trade so that they become under-delivering. And then conversely, if you are initially under-delivering, you can't trade so that you have even more under-delivery, or take yourself to the other side and become over-delivering. So who is able to submit CMVRNs? The primary party authority, finance authority, and operating authority can submit these to EMRS via the contact service desk. As well as these three, we have now introduced a trading contact, and you'll be able to register trading contacts on the new registration form, which is on the website. The primary party authority, finance authority, and operating authority have already been updated with their new privileges, so you don't need to contact us to enable them to submit CMVRNs. Please note we won't accept any CMVRNs from anyone else, so please make sure you have someone registered in at least one of these roles, and you can find more information about registration on our website or by contacting our service desk. The CMVRN follows the format which you can see on your screens. So on the left-hand side, you can see what the format is and what data items they would be, and the right-hand side is an example of what a CMVRN would look like in practice. So at the top it starts with CMVR, which allows us to identify what the file is, and then followed by the EMR party ID of the submitting company. Next is the line which identifies who the trades are going to and from, and then underneath that is confirmation of the EMR party and CMU ID who are trading, and then the penultimate line is the settlement date and settlement period and volume. This line can be repeated for all settlement periods that you are trading. So although you can see one line in our example, if you were to trade, for example, settlement periods 6 and 7 and 8, you can repeat those lines. The file should be ended with FTR, which is the footer, which enables us to realize that the trade is over and allows the computer to generate the trade and update the CVR. So this CMVRN should be submitted as a CSV file, and it should be named as CMVRN underscore date underscore sender underscore a 3-digit number to identify the file that you submitted that day. So the date should be the date of the data in the file that you're trading for, and the sender is the EMR party ID of who we're receiving the file from. As parties may be sending multiple files each day, that's why we're identifying the files using the 3-digit number at the end. So we got one question earlier about what time the register would be published. So each day we'll be publishing it by 5 p.m. In order for us to do that, all CMVRNs received between 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. will be reflected in the CVR, which is published at 5 p.m. Anything received after 4 p.m. will be factored into the CVR for the following day. On working day 19, which is the very last day which capacity providers can trade, we'll continue to publish our CVR at 5 p.m. using the cutoff point at 4 p.m. However, you're still able to submit trades up to 5 p.m. and to facilitate this, we'll rerun the register with all those trades received after we've published the register up to 5 p.m. and we'll publish a final CVR on working day 20 for everyone to see their final positions. Although published on working day 20, it's everyone's positions as of 5 p.m. on working day 19. And these positions are what EMRS would invoice for penalties and over delivery. So how will you know if a trade is successful? So once EMRS has validated the CMVRNs, you'll receive an email. So if your email is successful and your trade's been successful, that's what your email will explain to you. If it's unsuccessful, the email will contain the reasons why your CMVRN was not accepted. So these could be validation issues such as the matching file did not contain the same settlement period or the same volume. So please take care to submit your CMVRNs and complete them so that they are accepted first time round. If there are any issues with a file, and the file can be resubmitted while the volume reallocation window is open. So if we've received a pair from 2 trading CMUs and one file has been accepted and the other has been rejected for any reason, that rejected file can be resubmitted at any point while the window is open and the trade would be completed once that's been done. So following this, so we're now moving further along the timeline towards when we get to the close of the window and settlement. So once the window is closed on working day 19 and we calculate everyone's positions, EMRS will send out the invoices on the 21st working day of that month, and with a payment term of 5 working days, so any penalties will be due to us on the 26th working day. And over delivery payments are calculated and paid at the end of the delivery year. This is because we pay out over delivery payments using money collected from under delivery penalties, which is why if there are no under delivery penalties collected, there'll be no money to pay out as over delivery. One issue to touch on is the BSC settlement data. So from working day 10 to 19, when we're regenerating and recalculating the capacity volume register, we use the latest data available to EMRS. This means that if a settlement run occurs while the window is open, you might see a change in the calculation of your performance during the stress event. This might affect any overall undelivery volume initially reported in the CVR. If EMRS believes that there will be a settlement run occurring whilst the window is open, there will be communications out to all capacity providers and volume reallocation participants to make them aware of when that might be. Alternatively, if you're able to contact the supplier of those sites, you may have access to the actual data, whilst EMRS may have earlier on received only estimated data. So now that I explained the process and the timings, I'm going to take one last look at the timeline for volume reallocation. So a system stress event may have occurred during a month. In the month following that, on working day 10, we'll calculate and generate a capacity volume register, which explains everyone's performance during the system stress event, indicates any over-delivery or under-delivery by a CMU. From working day 11 up to working day 19, over-delivering and under-delivering CMUs are able to engage in trading together. So that's when we'll receive any CMVRNs and match and validate them and update the register every day whilst the window is open. On working day 20, we'll publish the very final capacity volume register. That's everyone's final positions, and we'll base any penalties and over-delivery on everyone's positions in this register. The invoice for those under-delivery penalties is issued on working day 21, and under-delivery payments are due on working day 26. And whilst this is happening, capacity providers will still receive their monthly capacity payment credit note. So I hope everyone's got the information that they needed and has been submitting any questions whilst we go along. We're going to have another break for questions. I think Hannah's got quite a few. So hopefully, if you haven't had a chance to submit a question, now's your chance to do so, and we'll answer as many as we can.
Hi Joy, hi everybody. So yes, you've been sending these questions in thick and fast, so no, thank you very much. So Joy, could we go back to, we've got a couple that I think are quite relevant around, so could we cover off, so if we received a CVRN and the window closed before a notification got rejected, so presumably if the window closes before the rejected file is replaced with a correct one, the trade doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's correct. We can only validate and match trades which have occurred while the window is open. So 5 PM on working day 19 is the deadline.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So, going back to data, so if we jump to data, can you confirm that the NGC data in the capacity market data is consistent with the EMRS data? The market register has been subject to many changes in terms of format and content.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
So I'll take it in two parts.
Okay. Break it down.
So I think it's just clarifying that the data that we submit, data that capacity providers submit, there's two forms. There's BSE data, and there's self-submission data.
Okay.
Isn't there? So where we talked around the settlement period, that would only apply to those people that submit, have got their data has been submitted via their data aggregator or via BM units. That would be only applicable to those people within the settlement process.
So anyone who's elected to submit data via a settlement process, that settlement data is subject to the different settlement runs. So it's that data that can be affected by later settlement runs.
Thank you very much. Okay. We've got a question, does the volume reallocation register to continue to be updated and available even if there is no stress event?
So volume reallocation is only open if there has been a stress event. So without a stress event, there is no volume reallocation. So there wouldn't be anything to publish and you wouldn't see a register on our website.
Yeah, Thank you very much. So the website page would only ever have the capacity market register if there is a stress event, and if there's no stress event, that page on our website would be there would be nothing there available. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you, Joy. So reallocation notices presumably mirror notices provided to the allocation system by each party that has agreed to trade particular volume. Yeah. Okay. Okay. A couple of other questions that we've got. What happens if the latest settlement data changes my position to under delivery within the volume reallocation process?
So EMRS has to use the latest data available. So each day that we're generating the register, we're using the most recently available settlement data. If that was to cause a capacity provider's position to change to under delivery, they would become liable for the under delivery penalties. Capacity providers can get in contact with the suppliers of their site to access actual data. So if anyone is worried about any data changes, then the best thing to do is contact the supplier and see if you can get access to actual data so that you're more aware of your position.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Joy. And I will take I'll take two more questions. So, is volume reallocation done automatically between your own CMUs, or do you have to submit capacity market volume reallocation notifications?
Okay, so EMRS won't action anything automatically. So a capacity provider might own multiple CMUs, some which are under delivering and some which are over delivering, but that capacity provider would still have to submit CMVRNs to action any trade between those CMUs. EMRS won't make that decision on capacity provider's behalf, so we will accept CMVRNs for trades for one capacity provider.
Lovely. Okay, thank you for that, Joy, to clarify. Trading parties, next question, trading party additional role, what qualification authorization process does authorization process apply to appoint additional trading nominees?
So the trading contact, so all they're able to do is submit CMVRNs to EMRS. They don't have any other privileges, although the other three contacts, the trading, the primary authority, finance authority, and operating authority, they have all of the benefits that they already do have, plus submitting CMVRNs.
Brilliant. And a trading contact has to be nominated by a primary party authority, I believe. Yeah. So what we will do is with that is the questions that we've had come through, we will do an FAQs sheet, and we will send those out, and we will add a link to the guidance document that talks around the authorization part of that process, so to give some additional guidance if needed. Okay. Thank you very much, Joy. Thank you, everyone for those questions submitted. But as I said, we will those questions that we haven't yet responded to, we will respond to those ones shortly, but we'll also privately, but we will send around an FAQs so everyone can see sort of the questions, and I think they'll be helpful. So no, thank you for your participation, much appreciated. Okay.
So we're going to revisit the poll question, which is, would you like to participate in volume reallocation testing? Thank you to everyone who's answered the poll. The results are in, and 54% of you would like to participate in trading. So we will get in contact with any of you who have answered yes to that. So that brings a close to the material we wanted to present to you today. Thank you for listening. For more information on the bits that we've mentioned throughout the presentation, you can have a look at the working practices on our website for information surrounding registration, amending details, aggregation rules, and volume reallocation itself. The volume reallocation register, where it's published on our website. And if you have any further questions or would like to speak to a member of our team, you can contact us by email or by telephone. Yep. Well, thank you all for your time. And remember, if you have any further questions, we're always happy to answer those. And as a reminder, the slides will be circulated for you to refer to at your leisure. Thank you.